What if I told you the strongest person in the room is often the one who says nothing at all? Not the loudest voice, not the quickest reaction, but the calm presence that refuses to be pulled into chaos. Have you ever wondered why some people stay unbothered, no matter how much pressure, provocation, or disrespect they face? It's not luck. It's a skill one built on silence, discipline, and emotional mastery. Imagine having a kind of power no one can steal from you, a power that protects your peace, your dignity, and your energy. That power is silence. And today, I'll show you why the Stoics guarded it like a weapon. In a world where reactions are instant and impulsive, where every insult, every opinion, and every provocation insists on a quick reply, every few people understand a simple truth. Your silence can be your greatest power. Most people speak to defend themselves, to prove they're right, or to win a moment of ego. But the Stoics understood something far deeper. The moment you react without thinking, you give away your control. And the moment you remain silent with intention, you take it back. Think about the last time you spoke from anger. Maybe you tried to correct someone who didn't want the truth, or argued with a person who cared only about winning, not understanding. Did your words create clarity, or did they drain your energy and disturb your peace? Today, we're going to explore 8 powerful situations where silence isn't a weakness. It's wisdom, it's discipline, it's quiet dominance. These are the moments when saying nothing protects your dignity, preserves your strength, and makes your mind untouchable. Before we begin, drop a simple affirmation in the comments. I choose silence over chaos. 1. When you are angry, anger is the emotion that steals your voice before you even know what's happening. It tightens your chest, takes over your tongue, and demands that you speak immediately, loudly, aggressively, and without a second thought. That's exactly why silence, in moments of anger, is one of the highest forms of self-control. Most people explode. They send the long text, the angry email, the message they can't take back. They don't pause. They don't breathe. They don't think. They react, and the reaction becomes the regret. The Stoics warned us about this centuries ago. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The best answer to anger is silence." Not because silence magically fixes the issue, but because silence prevents you from making everything worse. When you choose silence in anger, you protect your reputation, your relationships, and most importantly, your peace. Picture this. You're in an argument with someone who knows exactly which buttons to push. Your heart pounds, your voice rises, your mind narrows, and for a moment you feel powerful. But in reality, you're at your weakest, because anyone can control you simply by provoking you. That's not strength. That's emotional surrender. Now imagine responding differently. You feel the anger, but you don't let it take the wheel. You pause. You breathe. You stay silent. You look at the other person with calm, steady eyes. Suddenly, you are the one in control. The tension drops. The conversation slows. You gain time to think, to choose your words, or to choose no words at all. Here, silence isn't passive. It's a deliberate interruption of emotional momentum. It's the exact moment you take your power back from your impulses. And the benefits run deep. You avoid causing long-term damage with short-term emotions. You give your mind space to see clearly instead of reacting blindly. You show the other person they cannot manipulate or control your emotions. Silence turns anger into clarity and clarity into strength. And that's exactly why silence helps you stay in control, not by suppressing your emotions, but by refusing to let those emotions control you. You stay aligned with your values, not your rage. Stoic discipline doesn't mean you never feel anger. It means you never allow that anger to speak on your behalf. Because the strongest person in the room is never the loudest. It's the one who remains steady while everyone else is losing their composure. So the next time anger rises in your chest, remember this simple Stoic ritual. Pause, breathe, say nothing. Let the fire settle before you speak. That's not weakness. That is mastery. 2. When someone intentionally provokes you, people don't want a real conversation. They want a reaction. They intentionally press your buttons. They say things crafted to irritate you, embarrass you, or drag you into a conflict you never asked for. Their goal isn't dialogue. Their goal is domination. And the moment you react instantly, you give them exactly what they want. Provokers feed on emotional responses. Your frustration becomes their fuel. Your anger becomes their victory. Stoicism teaches that the easiest person to control is the one who can be triggered. And the hardest person to manipulate is the one who refuses to take the bait. Imagine you're at work, and a co-worker throws out a subtle but cutting remark, just sharp enough to slip under your skin. They glance at you, waiting for you to explode. Or maybe it's a family member who knows your sensitive points and presses them with surgical precision just to get a rise out of you. In that moment, your silence becomes unexpected. It breaks the script they were depending on. And when you remain silent, you're doing 3 powerful things at once. First, you refuse to give them what they came for, your emotional energy. Their attempt falls flat, leaving them standing in the awkwardness of their own behavior. Second, you maintain full control of your internal state. Instead of letting their words hijack your emotions, you stay grounded, like still water in a storm. Third, you gain the psychological upper hand, because the person who cannot be provoked is the person who cannot be controlled. The Stoics understood this deeply. Epictetus taught that no one can disturb your mind unless you hand them permission. And silence is simply the refusal to hand it over. It signals strength, quiet, steady, unshakable strength. You're not ignoring them because you're afraid. You're ignoring them because you are free. Picture how it feels for the provocateur when you simply look at them calmly, say nothing, and continue with your day. Their attempt to trigger you collapses. They lose their footing. They lose their power. This isn't avoidance. It's psychological self-defense. Silence also gives you room to choose a better response, later not from ego or anger, but from clarity. You can address the issue when the heat has passed, or decide it's not worth addressing at all. Either way, you choose the timing, not them. So the next time someone tries to pull you into their chaos, remember this: you are under no obligation to attend every emotional battle you're invited to. Some invitations deserve nothing but silence. Not because you're weak, but because you refuse to be someone else's puppet. 3. When people argue to win, not to understand, some conversations aren't conversations at all. They're competitions. The other person isn't listening. They're waiting for their turn to attack, twist your words, prove you wrong, or assert their superiority. Their mind is closed, their ego wide open, and the truth no longer matters. When someone argues only to win, not to understand, the wisest thing you can do is protect your peace rather than feed their ego. In moments like these, Silence becomes the only intelligent response. You can feel it instantly when you're dealing with this kind of person. Their tone sharpens, their eyes narrow, and they jump in before you can even finish a sentence. They don't listen to absorb, they listen to reload. You're not engaging with curiosity. You're engaging with conflict disguised as conversation. Stoicism teaches that you should never waste your breath on those who seek victory instead of clarity. Marcus Aurelius warned against arguing with people whose minds are sick with certainty. In situations like this, every word you offer becomes ammunition for them to fire back at you. And the more you try to explain yourself, the deeper you sink into their game. Imagine trying to reason with someone determined to misunderstand you. No matter how calmly you speak, they twist your intentions. If you raise your voice, they call you emotional. If you stay calm, they call you cold. If you try to clarify, they call you defensive. It's a trap built entirely from ego, and ego always demands a winner and a loser. But silence refuses to play by those rules. When you choose silence, you step out of the arena altogether. You show them and yourself that your peace is worth far more than their urge to dominate. You sidestep their attempt to control the narrative. You refuse to participate in a dialogue where logic is irrelevant, and something powerful begins to happen. Without your participation, the argument loses momentum. Your silence exposes the truth about the other person. With no opponent left to attack, their aggression stands out. Their ego becomes obvious. Their intentions become unmistakably clear to everyone, often even to themselves. Sometimes, the most powerful thing you can do is not defend yourself, not correct the record, not fight back, but simply remain silent and walk away. That is not surrender. That is selection, choosing your dignity over their drama later on. When emotions are neutral and minds are open, you might choose to revisit the issue. But in the heat of a win-or-lose argument, silence protects your intelligence, your emotional balance, and your integrity. Remember this: you don't have to win a debate that doesn't matter. You don't have to explain yourself to a closed mind. You don't have to offer wisdom to someone who only wants noise. Sometimes the most rational voice in the room is the one who chooses not to speak. For when the truth will reveal itself, there are times in life when speaking only makes things worse. When the more you defend yourself, the guiltier you appear. When the more you explain, the more tangled the story becomes. When the more you talk, the less you're actually heard. In these moments, silence isn't avoidance. It's confidence. It's the quiet belief that truth doesn't need your panic in order to stand. Think about how rumors spread quickly, emotionally, irrationally, always without evidence. If you chase every misunderstanding, every lie, every half-truth, you end up running in circles while the lie runs free. You drain yourself fighting battles that don't even need to be fought. You waste your energy clarifying things that time will eventually reveal on its own. Stoicism teaches that time is the great revealer. Seneca reminded us that falsehood collapses under the weight of its own inconsistency. Marcus Aurelius warned that truth requires no defense beyond your character. And Epictetus taught that your reputation is shaped far more by what you consistently do than by what you say. Consider a situation at work. Someone misrepresents your intentions. A rumor begins to spread, and suddenly eyes turn toward you. Your instinct is to explain everything immediately, to defend loudly, to gather proof, to clear your name as fast as possible. Often, the people who truly matter, the ones with awareness, wisdom, and goodwill, already know the truth, or soon will. and those who believe lies without question, who accept rumors without evidence. They are not the people whose approval you should chase. Here, silence is not retreat. It is a clear statement. I trust my actions more than your assumptions. I trust time more than your gossip. I trust my character more than the story you're trying to create. When you choose silence, you remove the oxygen from drama. You give no new angle for the lie to cling to. You refuse to fuel the fire, and slowly, truth begins to rise. Patterns reveal themselves. Behaviors expose intentions. Facts surface without you needing to interfere or defend yourself. And here's the surprising part. People often respect those who don't rush to protect their image. It signals stability, inner strength, and calm self-assurance. Later, when the noise fades, when emotions settle, you can address the situation calmly if it's necessary. But in the heat of confusion, silence protects your dignity and preserves your credibility. Remember this: truth has patience, lies do not. And the person who doesn't panic is the one who looks like they have nothing to hide. So when you know the truth stands with you, don't rush to speak. Stand still. Let time speak for you. 5. When you are insulted or confronted with passive aggressions, some insults hit you openly, but others slip in quietly: the subtle jabs, the disguised sarcasm, the just kidding comments that cut deeper than open hostility. Passive aggression is a test. It's a way for someone to harm you while pretending innocence. And the moment you react emotionally, they win twice. They hurt you, and then they get to act like you're the unreasonable one. Stoicism teaches a simple truth: not every attack deserves a counterattack. Some deserve nothing but stillness. When someone delivers a passive-aggressive remark, they watch you closely. They want to see your face tighten, your tone shift, your energy spike. They want proof that they've pulled you into their emotional arena. And the stronger your reaction, the more powerful they feel. But silence ruins the entire game. Imagine someone saying, "Wow, must be nice to finally show up on time," or "I guess some of us care more than others." All said with a polite smile. Most people bite back, defend themselves, or respond with an even sharper insult. But a Stoic response is different. You simply look at them steady, calm, unmoved. You refuse to give them the drama they were hoping to ignite. Your silence becomes a mirror reflecting this message. You don't control my emotions. You don't define my worth. And your opinion does not dictate my behavior. Passive-aggressive people thrive on your reaction. Without it, they are left staring directly at their own insecurity. They lose their sense of control. They become confused, even embarrassed, because the script they prepared suddenly falls apart. And silence gives you time to see what's really happening. Was the comment meant to manipulate you? Are they projecting their own frustration? Are they trying to provoke competition? Or are they simply uncomfortable expressing their real feelings? This clarity allows you to respond later with intention, not impulse. Maybe later, when everything has cooled and perspective returns, you'll address the issue directly, calmly. Maybe you'll reinforce a boundary to protect your peace. Or maybe you'll quietly create distance, because you finally realize the relationship no longer deserves your emotional investment. But in the exact moment of the insult, the wisest thing you can do is nothing. No raised voice, no sarcastic comeback, no long explanation trying to clear your name, just a calm, steady presence that silently communicates. Your words didn't pierce my inner world. Remember this truth: your reaction is the reward thereafter. And taking that reward away, That is the quietest, cleanest form of power you can hold. Not every enemy attacks with a sword. Some strike with a smile. And in those moments, silence becomes the shield they cannot penetrate. 6. When their emotions are too high for a rational conversation, there are moments when someone is so overwhelmed, so angry, so anxious, so hurt, so flooded with emotion that nothing you say will reach them. Logic cannot cut through a storm. Reason cannot land when someone is emotionally drowning. And in those moments, silence isn't avoidance. It is wisdom. You've seen this before. A partner spiraling in emotion. A co-worker so frustrated their hands are trembling. A family member venting non-stop, not even pausing to breathe. A friend crying, clearly not ready for solutions or advice. You try to explain, but they can't process it. You try to clarify, but your words bounce off them. You try to help, but somehow every sentence feels like pouring fuel on a fire. Stoicism teaches a simple principle. You cannot speak sense into someone who is not in a state to receive it. Their mind isn't closed by stubbornness, but by overwhelm. So in these moments, silence isn't a shutdown, it's a temporary shelter. When you stay quiet, you prevent the conversation from spiraling further. You give the other person space to ride out the emotional wave. You remove the pressure, the defensiveness, the feeling of being corrected or argued with. Silence becomes a soft container, not a cold wall. Think about it. How many arguments would disappear if just one person chose silence until the emotional temperature cooled? How many relationships would be saved? How many regrets avoided? Words spoken into a storm rarely survive the aftermath. They become wounds, not bridges. Imagine someone yelling at you, blaming you, or venting intensely. If you defend yourself, they escalate. If you try to reason, they feel invalidated. If you interrupt, they feel unheard. But if you remain quiet, calm, grounded, steady, something begins to shift. Their emotions keep flowing, but without resistance. And slowly, inevitably, the storm loses momentum because nothing is pushing back. Silence also gives you room to observe instead of react. What are they truly feeling? Where is this pain coming from? Is this really about you? Or something deep inside them? What do they need right now? Answers or simply understanding? When the emotional wave finally breaks and they settle, that is the moment your words can matter. That is when they can hear you without distortion. That is when a real conversation becomes possible. A Stoic doesn't rush into conflict. A Stoic doesn't throw fuel on the fire. A Stoic waits for the right moment because timing is just as important as truth. So next time someone is overwhelmed, remember, your silence is not indifference. It is patience. It is emotional intelligence. It is the choice to protect both of you from unnecessary damage. When the storm is raging, stay quiet. When the sky clears, speak with intention. Being misunderstood is frustrating. But being misunderstood by someone who has already decided what to believe, that is a trap. No matter what you say, they reshape your words. They pull apart every sentence. They bend your intentions into whatever suits the story they've already created. And somehow, every attempt to explain only tightens the net around you. Stoicism teaches a powerful truth. Never waste your breath explaining yourself to someone committed to misunderstanding you. Some people don't want clarity. They want confirmation. Confirmation of the narrative they've already written long before you opened your mouth. You've seen this happen before, haven't you? You try to clear up a situation, yet the more you talk, the more suspicious they become. You try to share your perspective, yet they twist it into something unrecognizable. You try to be honest, yet somehow they accuse you of hiding something. In these moments, speaking becomes self-sabotage because the conversation is not honest. It's not balanced. It's not aimed at resolution. It's aimed at reinforcing a narrative that benefits them and traps you. Imagine trying to explain yourself to someone who keeps interrupting your answers, or giving full context to someone who only listens to half a sentence, or trying to justify your actions to someone who already judged you before the discussion began. Every explanation becomes another angle for them to twist. Every clarification becomes another point to attack. You're not having a conversation, you're being cross-examined by someone who wants to win. Not understand. Here silence becomes self-protection. When you stop explaining, you stop giving them material to distort. You stop giving them emotional access. You stop participating in a conversation designed to make you look wrong. And your silence sends a quiet, unmistakable message. My truth is not up for negotiation. My character is not defined by your assumptions. Your misunderstanding is not my responsibility. Silence also shifts the power dynamic. When they can no longer twist your words, they lose momentum. They're forced to confront the limits of their own assumptions. And sometimes, your lack of defensiveness reveals more honesty than 1,000 explanations ever could. Later, when things are calm, when they're ready to actually listen, when the intention is genuine, you may choose to clarify if it truly matters. But you speak on your terms, not in a moment rigged against you. Stoics understood this deeply. Your reputation is built through consistent action, not frantic justification. The right people will understand you through observation, not argument. And the ones determined to misunderstand you will continue doing so no matter what you say. So remember this: when someone twists your words, silence is not surrender. It is choosing peace over a battle you cannot win. It is trusting your actions over their assumptions. It is refusing to perform for someone else's narrative. Say nothing. Let your integrity speak. Let your life correct the story. 8. When walking away is the strongest response, there comes a point in life when staying hurts more than leaving. A moment when you finally realize that no matter how much you explain, justify, or try to repair, the situation simply cannot be fixed with words. Walking away is not weakness. It is one of the purest expressions of self-respect, self-control, and mental clarity. Most people stay far too long in conversations that are already broken, in relationships that drain their spirit, or in conflicts that keep looping back to the same dead end. They stay because leaving feels harsh. They stay because silence feels cold. They stay because walking away feels like admitting defeat. But is it really? In Stoic philosophy, withdrawing at the right moment is not surrendered, is wisdom. It is the decision to stop investing in what no longer serves your growth. There are situations where speaking only makes things worse. When someone refuses to listen, raising your voice won't help. When someone is committed to misunderstanding you, explaining won't fix the story they've already written. When someone benefits from the chaos they create, confronting them only feeds their power. In these moments, walking away protects your energy more effectively than any argument ever could. Imagine a conversation that keeps spiraling into blame. You try to clarify your intentions, but they twist every sentence. You try to resolve the issue, but they bring up something new to accuse you of. You try to stay calm, but they provoke you again and again. Eventually, you realize their goal is not resolution, it's control. And at that point, continuing to speak only digs you deeper into a conflict that cannot be won. Walking away breaks that cycle instantly. It sends a message without saying a word. I don't operate on your level. I won't sacrifice my peace for your drama. I choose clarity over emotional chaos. The power of walking away lies in its simplicity. No shouting, no final speech, no dramatic declaration. You simply stop participating in the conflict. You create distance. You remove the oxygen that keeps the fire alive. Suddenly, the noise falls silent because you are no longer feeding it. Stoics believe deeply in guarding the inner citadel, the fortress of your mind. One of the most effective ways to guard it is by refusing to stay in environments that erode your stability. Walking away is a protective act. It is choosing your mental health over someone else's emotional turbulence. It is choosing to preserve your dignity rather than begging for understanding from people who have no intention of giving it. Walking away also exposes the truth. When your absence disrupts someone more than your presence ever did, you see everything clearly. Some people only appreciate you when you stop giving them access. Some only recognize your value when it is no longer available. Some only see their own behavior clearly when there is no one left to blame. But the real transformation happens inside you. When you walk away from dysfunction, you feel lighter. When you walk away from disrespect, you breathe deeper. When you walk away from emotional games, you regain focus. When you walk away from chaos, you rediscover yourself. Walking away doesn't have to be physical. It can be emotional, conversational, or energetic. It can mean refusing to argue. It can mean no longer responding to manipulation. It can mean lowering your expectations of someone who has shown you their limits. It can mean letting a relationship return to a safe level instead of remaining intimate. It can mean stepping back without bitterness, without resentment, without needing to prove anything. The most powerful exits are quiet. Stoics didn't slam doors. They simply stopped walking in circles. They didn't announce their departure. They let their silence speak for them. They didn't seek revenge. They sought peace. If someone repeatedly disrespects you, walk away. If someone twists your words, walk away. If someone drains your energy with chaos, walk away. If someone expects you to shrink so they can feel bigger, walk away. And if someone refuses to take responsibility for their own actions, walk away, not out of anger, not out of spite, and not out of pride, but because your life is too short and your mind too valuable to waste on battles that only steal your clarity. Walking away is not the end of the story. It is the beginning of a healthier one. It is a clear statement of strength. I refuse to lose myself trying to win someone else's approval. I refuse to participate in my own suffering. I choose the path where peace is actually possible. Sometimes, the strongest thing you will ever do is simply turn around, stay silent, and walk away. Silence is not emptiness. It is strategy. It is discipline. It is the highest expression of emotional intelligence. And across all 8 situations we've explored, one truth keeps returning. You gain power the moment you stop handing your reactions away. Stoicism teaches that you cannot control people, events, or outcomes. But you can always control the space between stimulus and response. And in that space lives your strength. When you stay silent in anger, you protect your dignity. When you stay silent during conflict, you protect your peace. When you stay silent with manipulators, you protect your mind. And when you walk away, you protect your entire life. Silence is not running away. It is rising above. It is choosing clarity over chaos, maturity over impulse, and self-respect over approval. If today's message spoke to you, choose one situation this week where you will practice intentional silence. One moment where you will choose restraint instead of reaction. And remember, the quieter your mind becomes, the louder your power grows.